Morning, I am Riji, Associate Professor, Department of ECE. Today we are going to see about Unit 4 Spectrum Sharing. On completion of topic, students can understand the basics of spectrum sharing. The demand of multimedia content and information processing service such as e-education, e-health, mobile broadcasting, enormous increase in electronic gadget, necessity efficient use of available and usable frequency spectrum. The new generation of mobile broadband net will require supporting higher data throughput rate. Many sophisticated technology has been implemented for making the use of available spectrum. For example, LOS system are usable up to 100 GHz now. Running down the size of electronic component system introduce multiple frequency band in single equipment, leading to the use of available spectrum by the enhanced dynamic sharing of frequency band. Spectrum management should be in such a way that there are optimal spectrum sharing. Spectrum sharing has basically three dimensions: frequency, time, and location. The collective use of spectrum to be used by more than one user without requiring license. Some of the example of spectrum sharing frequency reuse concept in telecom network. Another challenge is that spectrum sharing is heterogeneous network. While it is easier to achieve client and successful spectrum sharing, the homogeneous or similar network applications. There are classified into three categories: spectrum sharing, horizontal spectrum sharing, vertical spectrum sharing, hierarchical spectrum sharing. Horizontal spectrum sharing, all the devices have equal right to access the spectrum. Vertical spectrum handover, the primary user are allotted priorities to access the spectrum. Hierarchical spectrum sharing, it is the enhanced variant of the vertical spectrum sharing. Spectrum sharing using SDR and cognitive radio. Evaluation of SDR and cognitive radio are two major milestones for mobile communication. Dynamic sharing of spectrum improves spectrum of efficiency and above mentioned technologies. Conventionally, transmitters were tuned to specific frequency and facility for multiple frequency would cost high. But after the development of this technology, tuning to transmitter multiple frequency has become easier, switching to different frequency to reasonable cost. There is a need of large number of spectrum in case of emergency or public safety when compared to normal condition. Spectrum trading is the case of spectrum sharing with the involvement of commercial activity. Spectrum trading can be economical way of efficient of spectrum. It is used to increase and spectrum assigned to particular service. Spectrum trading is a market-based mechanism where buyers and sellers determine the assignment of spectrum, and it uses the seller transfer the right of spectrum usage in full or part to buyer while retaining the ownership. The merit of spectrum trading: improve efficient spectrum usage, facilitate the evolution of spectrum license and gaining knowledge, quicker process with better and fast decision making by those information, remove barriers to entry by allowing small operator and startup to acquire spectrum right of use more readily, thereby facilitating the development of market competition. So from this topic, students can access the some important topics which are the following is an example of spectrum sharing: FDM, TDM, cognitive radio, orthogonal frequency division, multiplexing. What is the role of spectrum broker in spectrum sharing? To monitor the quality of spectrum signal, to assign spectrum band to different networks, to manage spectrum usage and efficient sharing between users, to increase the cost of spectrum leasing. Which spectrum sharing model is primary used in Federal Communication Regulation for managing spectrum use? Spectrum leasing model, priority accessing model, opportunity spectrum access model, centralized frequency assignment model.